Morning, you absolute smashers. Welcome to the first ever Everyday Change mini series. Everyday Change, for those of you who aren't familiar with who we are and what we do, we're a bit of a no nonsense, straight talking, get the job done kind of consultancy. We're not here to fix or save you. We're here and we pride ourselves with being here to help you change your world in as fewer PowerPoint slides as possible. Over the next 3 days, each morning, we're going to be sharing a short video that's a bit of an insight to our world, what we do, and how we think, but also an opportunity for you to improve the change in your world. We're going to do 3 short videos and a daily activity which have been created to help move your change onward. Starting today, we're going to be tackling change resistance. We'll be looking at what change resistance is in its truest form. We're going to be looking at how to alleviate it, how to help people move onwards, and then how far to go to mitigate it, and specifically how far to go with those who are resisting. For those of you who have followed Everyday Change for a while, you know that this is one of our hot topics. You'll also know that we don't like how resistance and resistors are treated in the world of change and change management. So we're here to break a few barriers and sort out some myths. So resistance to change is not usually the cause of your change struggling, of it being disrupted, of it feeling painful and unsuccessful. It's absolutely a symptom. It's a symptom that either you're not doing the right thing for your organization and for your people, or the way you're going about it is negatively impacting your people. It's lacking, feels kamikaze, or maybe it's just a bit shit. So I suppose let that sink in for a second, because what we're actually saying is that you are likely to be a cause, or your change is likely to be a cause of the resistance, or at least the scale of the resistance that you're experiencing. People tend to push back against change for two main reasons. So, one, that they don't believe the change is right, so it jars against their expectations, their values, or their belief systems. And two, as I said, how you're going about the change disregards their needs. So, feels a bit shit, doesn't help them get involved, get on board, understand what it is you're doing. Both of these points will have both a factual basis in terms of clear evidence about what's happening and why it's happening, and both will have an emotional response. And it's the emotional response that often makes resistance feel heavy and really personal, because it is trapped amongst feelings. And as change leaders, we're often on the receiving end of that emotional response. So quite often, you would see resistance in a bit of an atypical way in terms of it being presented as a lack of engagement, disruption, apathy, asking shit questions in a public forum, a bit of old-fashioned pot stirring. Probably probably sounds familiar. You've probably done it yourselves, if we're all completely honest. So how would your resistance feel if I told you that you weren't responsible for how somebody else feels? And I don't say that to sound like I'm a miserable cow, but you can't control how someone else feels or how those feelings manifest. They're not yours to control. But we know that when we're dealing with people and trying to preserve either the change or, more likely, yourself and your reputation, we do our best to make it stop or to make it feel better. So we try and compartmentalize, close down, and move on resistance. But we often do so without little probing to avoid, a further ruckus, further bad exposure, further bad feelings. And we try and fix something quickly so it feels better. And then, like whack-a-mole, it comes back because your fix wasn't grounded in any evidence. It was just grounded in your need for it to be better, for the people to be quieter. So we see a lot of sticking plasters, a lot of temporary holds to try and move or close down resistance. So today's challenge is all about you finding that evidence that sits around your resistance. We want you to stay with the facts. We want you to stop jumping to conclusions, stop looking for those quick fixes, and we want you to finally whack the mole all the way down. So what we want you to do, whether it's through the course of the day, whether it's feedback that you've got or conversations that you're already having, we want you to really listen to what you're actually being told. Identify what is being resisted and test your understanding of what that is, what it sounds like, how it feels. So play it back to whoever you're talking to or wherever you're getting your feedback from, and keep going until you think you have a really clear problem statement that gives you a really nice articulation of the context, either the person is in or the team is in, where they're coming from and what they need. And we want you to do that, especially if you do it with a person, using loads of brilliant open questions. So, we want to be open and ask them to tell you about your experience and their expectations. We want to really probe, can you tell me more? How can it be better? What do you need? What do you need from me? We want to reopen up the conversation that may have previously been closed down by a quick fix that may have been put in place. So now is the chance for you to get yourself a brew, have a think about it, see if you can identify either a resistor or an instance that maybe you can reflect on. And we'd love for you to try and find some of that evidence and some of those facts. Naturally, we would love to see and hear some of your outcomes. So feel free to chuck them in the comments. If you've got a question or you want a little bit of time today, crack yourself over into the old DMs, and we will see you tomorrow for part 2.